is Emma Yoakum, and welcome to the tutorial for the Elsie dress. You guys, this dress is literally the most adorable dress ever. I love the Peter Pan color details, the two buttons, the gathered skirt, the gathered baby doll skirt. It's really just all in all an adorable dress. It gives me day out with your friends vibe, a little thrifting vibe. Really, it's perfect for any occasion because it's so incredibly comfy. The Elsie dress has a Peter Pan collar, two sleeves options, both gathered, a long sleeve and a short sleeve option. It has a 2-button closure in the front. The Elsie dress comes in sizes 6 through 18 and it is available on my Etsy shop, which I will have linked down below. Purchasing my pattern is a great way to support me so I can continue creating content for all of you. I will be sewing the entire Elsie dress in this tutorial along with both sleeve options. I highly recommend also using my written patterns, which was included with the pattern purchase, and following the step-by-step tutorial along with it. That's all I have. Happy sewing!
Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is start pinning our pattern to our fabric. And obviously you have to cut the pattern and tape it together too, but I already did that off camera. So now we're just pinning it. Also, I decided for one of the dresses to make the collar a contrasting color just so it popped out a little bit more. And then I added some beautiful embroidery to it, so stay tuned for that. Now I am just creating the button bands. So the first step is to fold over 3/8 of an inch and press, and then another inch and press into place. You want to repeat this on both sides of the front bodice pieces. Now I'm just stitching those button bands into place. Pin the bottom edge of the button bands together and stitch them about 1/4 inch. After fusing your interfacing to one side of the collar, stitch around the curved edge only. Now I'm using my pinking shears to pink that edge we just sewed. If you don't have pinking shears, you can just notch the edge. This part is a little tricky, but now I'm just understitching the under collar, which doesn't have the interfacing, to keep it more stable and more crisp. After pressing, the under collar is going to creep over the edge of the top collar. This is okay. Baste it in place, trim off the extra. Now it's time for that adorable embroidery on the Peter Pan collar. I used my water erasable pen to trace out a design, going step by step to make sure each side was symmetrical. I kind of just followed a design off of Pinterest. Then I found some matching colors and just went at it. It ended up so adorable and I'm so glad I made this choice. It's it's now time to sew the shoulder seams. So that's what I did, and then I also finished the edge on my serger. You can use a zigzag stitch if you don't own one. Press the shoulder seams to the back and then start pinning the collar to the bodice. I first found the center back of both the collar and the bodice, matched those up. Then I pinned the corner of the collar onto the edge of the button band. Make sure before you start pinning to notch the edge, making sure not to go into the basting stitches. I forgot, make sure you do it, it's important. Now I'm just stitching it on. Notching helps the color match up and stay straight. Now I'm just adding the binding, the bias binding. Make sure to overlap the edges by about half an inch. We're gonna fold those under, so that's important. After trimming and grading, I folded the bias binding over and stitched the whole neckline, making sure to keep the collar out of the way so it doesn't get stitched. And then I just pressed it into place and made it really neat. Now I'm basting the top edge of each skirt piece. One basting stitch should be 1/4 inch from the edge, the other 1/2 inch. After finding the center of each skirt piece and bodice piece, I'm matching up those edges and gathering the skirt to the bodice. Now I'm stitching the skirt to the bodice, both sides, and then I'm just going to use my serger to finish that edge. Now I'm using my serger to finish the curved edge of all 4 pocket pieces. Then I'm going to pin each pocket piece 13 inches from the top of the skirt piece, stitch it in place, then serge the whole edge. Now I'm pressing that seam towards the pocket. Now I'm stitching those side seams together, curving around the pocket, and that edge is finished now, so I'm just gonna press those seams open. Now it's time to hem your skirt. I'm first folding over 1/4 inch, pressing that into place, and then another 1/2 inch and pressing that into place. Stitch the hem into place. Using the points marked on the sleeve patterns, base the top edge of each sleeve. stitch the sleeves and then serge that edge. For the short sleeve, we're going to fold the edge up 3/8 of an inch and then another 1.25 inches. We're now going to create a casing for the elastic. Stitch at the edge, leaving a 1/2 inch open to insert the elastic, and then again 3/8 from the edge all the way around. Insert your elastic into the casing and then overlap the edges 1/4 inch and sew them so they don't come apart, and then close that opening. Pin and gather the sleeve into the bodice, making sure that the seams and the shoulders match. Stitch the sleeve into place and finish the edge. For the long sleeve, you're going to apply a lot of the same steps. You're going to baste the top, sew the seam, serge the seam. After pressing the sleeve, you're going to press up 3/8 of an inch and then 1 inch and 1/8 and create a casing for it. Stitch all the way around, leaving 1 inch opening to insert the elastic into. Put that in and then overlap the edge 1/2 inch, stitch the elastic together, and then close that opening. And now just pin and gather the sleeves to the bodice, just like the other sleeve. Stitch and serge that sleeve into place. The last step is buttonholes and buttons. The first buttonhole will start a 1/2 inch from the top of the button band. The other will be placed 1.5 inches below the top of it, and that applies for all of them. And then we're just going to snip those open, mark where our buttons need to be placed, and stitch our buttons into place. I found some really adorable vintage buttons from my great grandmother, which was so special, and really happy I could reuse these buttons. Congratulations, your Elsie dress is finished.
hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope you're enjoying your new Elsie dress. Again, thank you so much for your purchase. If you made the Elsie dress, please tag me on Instagram. I can't wait to see your guys' versions of the Elsie dress, or if you make literally anything that I have made on this channel, just tag me on Instagram because I would love to see what you guys have made. And thank you for your support, and if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. That's everything. Thanks guys. Bye.